Mario Kart World was one of the many announcements during this recent Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, and let's just say the reactions have been diverse. Conventionally attractive humans, my name is RidersDX. Welcome to my channel, where today we're going to talk a little bit about Mario Kart World and what this could mean for Sonic Racing Crossroads in particular, because I have an interesting idea that I don't think anyone else has brought up as far as I know. But before we dive into it, I just kind of want to take a little moment to talk about Mario Kart World in general, because the game looks absolutely incredible. As like a rabid Sonic fan that wants Sonic to top Mario in every single way possible, I can't lie. Mario Kart World looks absolutely incredible. It looks bigger than ever. The open world like features of it look really great. There's this mode where you can like go to multiple courses. It kind of reminded me of like the warped concept in Sonic Racing Crossroads, except expanded. And the roster looks like it's gonna be bigger than ever, like 24 racers at the same time. It absolutely looks like it's checking off every box needed to make this the biggest and best Mario Kart ever. And I have to say, one thing in particular that I really enjoy about this is just the new art style of the characters. You know, I was watching the Treehouse stream yesterday and we were at the character select screen, and I saw that all the characters had like little special dance moves. And I'm just like, this game feels so much more evocative and personality filled than like any other Mario game before it. And I really am digging this like new direction from Mario. The designs do look a little different, especially for characters like Donkey Kong, but I love how much more expressive the characters are and how much more full of personality they're really making these characters. And so it really is looking like a very solid launch title for the Switch 2, and I'm looking forward to trying it out. But of course, the world, after the Direct was finished, the world got a rude awakening seeing the game was going to be priced at $80. Listen, there's a lot of information out there right now. No one really has like 100% story of what's actually going on, so I'm not going to pretend that I know like why the price is so high and whether or not it's fully Nintendo's fault. I'm just going to say how it feels coming from the perspective of a consumer. So for the longest time, Nintendo was consistently the people's console maker, if that makes sense. And I understand and realize that Nintendo is like any other capitalistic company. They're always in it to make the most money. And that's why Nintendo has gotten as far as they have, because they're good at it. But in comparison to like Sony and Microsoft, Nintendo has always been the one that's offered like the cheaper option to casuals. So now we're sitting here with a console that, while it's on par price-wise with the current generation, it somehow now has the most expensive games on the market. So make it make sense. Nintendo definitely has changed something. Like I said, the whole pricing situation is a hodgepodge mess. Like, sure, it could be Nintendo's fault. It could be due to outside factors as well. I mean, recently, just today, while I was making this video, they announced that the US pre-orders for the Switch 2 were delayed due to trying to see the impact of the tariffs in the United States. And so I definitely am not trying to like lay all the blame on Nintendo, just because I just don't know. I just don't know what the actual reason for it is. And to be honest, we never will, because Nintendo is not going to talk about this. They're not. We're just going to have to wait and see if the price of the console and the games go up. All I'm gonna say is Nintendo is lucky as hell they don't have something like a PS4 to worry about. Do y'all remember that showdown between the PS4 and the Xbox One? This is back when E3 was still a thing. We were still doing press conferences for each of the companies.
This is how you share your games on PS4.
Thanks.
PlayStation.
I could have seen Sony and Microsoft really lean into that marketing strategy if they were launching their consoles at the same time as Nintendo. However, there is a direct competitor to Nintendo on a smaller scale that could totally do this. And so here comes in Sonic Racing Crossroads, which is also coming out this year. And once again, Sonic is a direct competitor to Mario, much like Superstars was when it came out at the same time as Wonder. And we all know how that went. Not very good when it came to Sonic, but this matchup could turn out differently. All we need is two things. One, the game needs to be actually good. But two, Sonic needs to lean into the reason he was created in the first place. So Sonic was manufactured, as far as I understand, to be a direct competitor to Nintendo during those early 90s. On the day of the Direct, the Sonic social media team posted this to their social media platforms. Big day for worldly racing games. Anyway, get ready for the only upcoming kart racer you can play with your friends around the world across all your favorite platforms, Sonic Racing Crossroads. Worlds. And in my mind, I'm thinking they're cooking a little bit. They're cooking a little bit because yes, Sonic and Mario are coming out of a racing game this year. So obviously comparisons galore are going to happen. It's a natural tendency of human nature. And honestly, Sega brought this upon themselves because they probably did know that Mario was coming out with Mario Kart this year. Even if they didn't have specific intel about it, they should have been able to guess that. But I really like this social media post because it showed like that snarkiness that Sonic had, especially when he first came out with his marketing. Sonic had like commercials that directly called out Nintendo and was like, you can do this and this with Sonic, but you can't do this to Mario. Like he really had that like bratty attitude that really showcased that this was a completely different character from Mario and something else you need to get into. Sonic could really lean into the marketing here and poke fun at how Mario Kart World is $80 if the game ends up being significantly cheaper like I imagined it would be until all this tariff mess happened. Shadow Generations is arguably the bigger deal of a game here, for instance, and that was priced at $50 at launch. So I am anticipating a similar price for Crossroads. Like I said, I know that the situation in the United States is ever changing, so who knows if they can price Crossroads at that price, but I can imagine that they probably can pull some strings and make sure it's not $80. Like I feel like that's pretty reasonable ask over here. And so if they do that and give Sonic Racing Crossroads a significant price cut compared to Mario Kart, then Sega can do to Nintendo what Nintendo did to Sony and Microsoft back when the Nintendo Wii came out and back when the Switch came out. Nintendo propped themselves up as the people's console, the people's company, and people bought into the Nintendo Wii and the Nintendo Switch because it seemed like a console and a company that was supporting more casual people, like a broader audience. And Microsoft and Sony seemed to be more so for the hardcore people that took gaming seriously and were willing to pay the bigger bucks for it. Sega can literally do the same thing to Nintendo if they wanted to price Sonic Racing Crossroads significantly cheaper than Mario Kart World and wanted to lean into the marketing for it. And in my eyes, there is nothing wrong with a little friendly competition. There's nothing wrong with just like being a little playful in terms of your marketing and, you know, poking fun at your competitors, because while Sega and Nintendo are definitely cool and have done partnerships in the past, there is no reason for them to be completely nice to each other anymore. You know, Sega is a competitor at the end of the day, and if they want to make money, then they're going to make the hard decisions to get people to want to buy into games like Sonic Racing Crossroads. I think there is nothing wrong with a little friendly competition, especially when it's good for the consumer, which is something that is severely lacking right now because there's a lot of cynicism and a lot of like fear as to what is going to happen in the future when it comes to the Switch 2 and such. And honestly, we could use a win. We could use any kind of win right now. So if Sonic Racing Crossroads wants to be just one of the few wins we can get with a reasonably priced game, then so be it. Let's do it. And again, I'm emphasizing that like Nintendo could blame the increased prices over things like increased game costs, tariffs, the whole kit and caboodle, but it is still shocking to see them be the originators of this. This is just really unfortunate timing for them overall because, I mean, I'm sure they didn't want to launch a new console in the midst of all these tariff laws coming up, and it's unfortunate that Nintendo has to take a step back and reevaluate what's going on because who knows, the Switch 2 console could be a lot more expensive than we thought it would be, and who knows if Mario Kart World could go any higher than $80. That would be shocking to me, but we are living in unprecedented times. Unfortunately, Nintendo has made themselves a swollen, flaming target for everyone around them to hit, and they are being hit from all different angles. And I just am really just curious to see what is going to amount from this. And I really just hope that whatever happens, it's good for the consumer. But on the side of Sonic, you know, thinking about smaller potatoes, Sonic could really lean into the marketing that got him in where he is in the first place and really just like poke some fun at Mario Kart. They really could do that and make Sonic Racing Crossroads a big hit, especially because when I played the game, it was very solid. It's really good. So if they want to like really ensure the game's success, go there to marketing. Be that spunky little blue hedgehog that we all love and make Nintendo wish they didn't price the game at that price. Because like I said, we don't know what the exact reason for it is. While it's likely it could be due to like outside factors they can't control, it also could be due to the fact that Nintendo's greedy and they think they can get away with pricing a game that high. And you know, maybe we need Sonic to teach them a lesson and show them that like, hey, you can't actually get away with that. So yes, that is my overall thoughts and just an interesting point I want to bring up. Again, this is a very fluid and ever-changing situation. But from the perspective of Sonic and Sega, this is what you could do to make sure that Sonic Racing Crossroads is a big hit. Lean into that bratty, spunky marketing that Sonic is known for in the 90s and make Nintendo cry. Because I'm telling you, Nintendo's target has never been bigger, and I'm telling Sonic the Hedgehog to homie attack that bitch. Homie attack Nintendo and make them wish they didn't price the game that high. I will say, despite all the craziness in terms of like the politics and the pricing and such, the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct was still very, very solid to me, and I really quite enjoyed it. So I am planning to make more videos about some of the games that we saw from there. I'm not really sure what my concrete plans are yet, but I really did like a lot of what I saw in that Direct. I would love to talk more about like the new Donkey Kong game, for instance, or like the new Kirby Air Riders game. Like, hello, Air Riders. Mario Kart World looks really good too, so I really don't want to let that go, because Sonic Racing Crossroads is obviously going to be the game for me in terms of racing games, but Mario Kart World looks very promising. You know, everything about the game itself looks great, so it's a little unfortunate that all this stuff is being overshadowed by the chaos that's happening in the country. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think that Sonic should lean into this marketing style that I'm talking about here? And if so, subscribe to my channel, like this video, share this video. If we can get enough people to watch this video and bring it up to the skies in terms of views and such, then maybe Sega will actually see this and get some ideas and actually implement this kind of marketing, because I think it'd be a lot of fun. I think it'd be a lot of fun to see Sonic directly antagonize Mario again. I think that would just be a lot of fun. But alright, y'all, thank you so much. This is Riders, riding out.